Jesus Freak here. So, I know a lot of people who follow my channel tend to be on the conservative side politically. And I happen to be involved in some left-wing political stuff. I'm not hard left-wing or anything, but if I didn't believe in a strong social safety net, I'd be starving to death or a hypocrite. So, it's been sort of the nature of the beast. One thing I've noticed, you have a lot of people who confuse Jingoism for patriotism. Jingoism is love of country the way a little child would love one's parents. Patriotism is a more adult love of country, more mature love of country. And what I say by the way a child loves one's parents, if you were to tell a child something that it's absolutely true and not necessarily flattering about their parents, they're going to get very aggressive. And probably going to be like, oh, my mom or my dad ain't like that. And the very idea that it could be true just goes in one ear and out the other. A more mature love of country would be, I know it's got its flaws, but it's my home. Of course, for those of us who believe, it's like, it's my home for the time being. Because I need somewhere to crash until I move on. But the same thing holds, I'm not one of those people who idolizes whoever's in charge, or so tribalist that I'm like, the left can do no wrong, the right can do no right, or conversely, as I see a lot on the right, and this is more on the right than the left, that I see these kinds of sentiments. The left can do no right, the right can do no wrong. Frankly, sometimes both sides are right, sometimes both sides are wrong. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say Orange Man bad because he's a Republican, whatever, Oh, there are actually people who say that. Do I have issues with Trump? Yes, I believe he's setting up a cult of personality and trying to follow the playbook of 1930s and 1940s Germany. That's different from saying, "Oh, he's on the right, like he's an idiot." I know there are people on my political side of the spectrum that think that just because you're a Republican, you're a moron. You're not necessarily. There's Republicans and there's MAGA. Just like there's Democrats and there's tankies. I'm a political moderate. It's just that right now our political climate is so polarized that most of the people in positions of power in our government are either borderline tankies or MAGA. And that leaves me sort of, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, What am I going to do, right? You find me saying stuff that tends to support liberal talking points. No, I'm not a socialist, communist, fascist, atheist, Muslim. Or whatever other handful of epithets some right wingers, they'll throw every single epithet they can think of at a person, even if they don't make sense, and even if they self contradict. Because for a lot of people, everything they think is completely thresholded. It's either 100% black, 100% white. There's no color and there's no grayscale. I think there's not too many people who are willing to see things for what they are. If you see, me involved in political stuff, yes, it's going to be left wing. Yes, I am left of center. Doesn't mean that I'm into all the kinds of left wing stuff as, say, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. I'm probably to the left of, say, Chuck Schumer, but I'm to the right of, say, Ocasio Cortez. Just giving a couple examples from my own state. So, my political stance is a little bit odd. Frankly, it comes from a place of, I feel that whatever helps the most people and hurts the least is the ideal thing to go with. And we're in this together. And there's only one race, the human race. I don't think that should be considered extreme in any sense. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans do. Too many of them are into this I, me, mine attitude. By the way, be careful when you hear someone talking about we need America to be Christian, whatever, whatever, whatever. careful because they might have a different definition of Christian than you do. I understand this. I've dealt with this a lot, that a lot of people don't consider me to be a Christian, and I'm probably pretty hardcore as far as being Christian goes. But, oh, you go to a mainline church, you're a United Methodist. You're not a Christian, you're a Satanist. You know, kind of polarization, kind of, lizard brain tribalism. Look, you find all these people pushing for Christianity at the highest echelons of government. They're not talking about Christianity, broadly speaking. They're not even talking about Protestantism, broadly speaking. They're not even talking about Pentecostalism, broadly speaking. They're talking about a cult called the New Apostolic Reformation. First of all, has anyone forgotten the verse where Jesus tells Pilate, "My kingdom is not of this world"? Second of all, by any definition of Christianity where scriptural authority is considered important, New Apostolic Reformation doesn't fall in that category because they consider their fifis more important than the words of the Bible. In fact, they've gone so far that one of them has been working on rewriting the Bible, and it actually has some currency in those circles. It's called the Passion Translation, and I use scare quotes for a reason because it is not a translation. It's not even a paraphrase. It's a Joseph Smith job. The guy behind it, what's his name? Brian Simmons. He said he was met by an angel named Passion who commissioned him to retranslate the Bible and give him special divine revelation. If that doesn't set up red flags, that's exactly what Joseph Smith said about Moroni, which is one letter away from moron. My political stances, I've said this before. It's not because I don't believe, it's because I do. And yes, as I'm shooting this video, I'm preparing to go to one of those No Kings rallies. Oh, there's rumors that people are going to get violent down there. Oh, we're talking about that they're saying there's going to be riots. The only riots that are going to be started are going to be started by law enforcement. Most of us are under directives. If we see anyone rioting, sit the hell down. All right? What's that saying? First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. I don't think it's that simple, but I'll take that any day over first they came. Right, Niemöller? Jesus, freak out.